welcome to Appleton Engaged. I'm your host, Timber Smith, DEI coordinator for the city of Appleton. And Appleton Engaged is a podcast that explores the many people, organizations, and resources that make our community a great place to live, work, and play. So whether you're a longtime resident or just getting to know Appleton, join us as we learn more about our community together. Hello out there, Appleton Engaged listeners. How are we doing? You are stuck with just me this week. I want to send a shout out to my partner in crime, Andy Anam, and he got pulled away for some other business. So it's just going to be me and what you already know is going to be another amazing guest in this episode. Can I just say that I'm really excited about this conversation we're about to have for so many reasons, but one of the main reasons is because of the impact that this guest and their program has within our community on so many levels. And it's something, the impact is literally something you get to see all the time as you're traveling around Appleton. So without any further ado, this week's guest is Neo Medina, founder and artist of Paint the City 3. Hey, Neo, what's going on?
What's up with you, man? I'm glad to be here.
I am doing well myself. Can you please take a second here and please tell us about yourself and your association with Appleton and the surrounding Fox Cities region?
Yeah, so I'm kind of a dreamer and doer out here. Originally from Sheboygan, graduated from there, went to UW Oshkosh, got my bachelor's of fine arts, and then moved up to Appleton. Real interesting. I think the first year or two that I lived here, I was like, I gotta figure out a way to get out of here. And then I painted my first mural at Bazaar After Dark, and I just fell in love. And we've been painting walls ever since.
You've painted quite a few walls around here, from what I can tell.
Yeah. So we're on this summer. I think we'll be hitting 20, if I'm not there yet. So most of them outside, couple inside. But yeah, a lot of my work is with the community. Sometimes I'm solo dolo. I'd have to say my favorite one is on the side of Appleton East. If you haven't seen it, you should see it. It's amazing. Unbiased.
Yeah. I don't know if you're biased or if it's just facts. I'm going to go with facts.
Appreciate it.
All right. So, Neo, can you please tell us about your resource?
Yeah. So I run a program called Paint the City. We're heading into our third year. I'm really, really excited about it because it's this intricate layering of community and youth empowerment. So I started painting with youth, I think 2017, 2018, through a program called Summer of Service. And I learned a lot there, but one of the biggest things I've learned is that the youth will show up. We paint in the summer and they're there, and they're also quick learners. And so I tried to take this smaller initiative I was part of and grow it. And so now we've come to this place where we're running, again, the third time of Paint the City, but the students that participate, there's 20 students from across the Appleton Area School District, all high school students. They get a half a credit, so I partnered with AASD, and then they also get a $400 stipend for their work, just because I know that's a lot of my students' time to be earning some money, especially ahead of school. And not to mention, although painting is fun, it is hot and it is hard work. It's not like it's easy to paint 3,000 square feet of mural. And so, yeah, it's been a really impactful project in many ways. I think the biggest thing is that we weave together community. So it's not just like, okay, me and the students, we have some staff from varying schools. Kids themselves are from different schools. So on that aspect, they're getting friends across the district. And then we bring in, so I create a sign up and I bring in community members to come volunteer and spend time working alongside the kids. And I think what's amazing to me to see is the kids really take ownership of that and they begin to teach the adults. And that's really important to me because I think not often do they get that power. Not often do they get to be the people who influence and change narrative. And it's great to see them just shine and their smiles and their pride in what they're doing. And then not to mention that trickles down to their family. Another really important component of this project is the layer of diversity. And so I'm really intentional about how I get students to apply. So it's working with DEI staff in the school. So I work for the school district, so I got an easy in, right? That's my team. I'm on the DEI team. I'm also working with the alt ed teachers at the different schools, and then the art teachers, of course. But historically, we've had about like 95% diverse students. And what that looks like is either race, ethnicity, or LGBTQ status or socioeconomic status. And so, really just trying to pour into the students who really, really need that opportunity and maybe just don't get it for one reason or another. I think, a glaring sign to me, I was in a different school district and I was just going through an office way and I'd seen a bunch of pictures of like the honor society and they didn't look like me, and I like wanted to do something so that I had students that might look like me or the kids I had served at that time through STAR to have like their picture, if that makes sense. And at the end of every project, I always create this moment for us to have that picture. It's like, it's so important to me. And it's like a great point of pride that they have that moving forward. Like you were part of this amazing thing that impacted your families, the community at large, other young children underneath you. And so that lens of diversity is incredibly important, both on the impact on the students, but then also, again, talking about layers, when the community members or volunteers get to come in and see these students working with and doing something beautiful for our community, it begins to maybe change some of the narrative or biases that we have or hold. And we create authentic and organic points of conversation where we can learn from one another. I'm a firm believer that when we're painting together, it erases all of these like lines we might draw between ourselves, maybe some of those statuses I mentioned earlier, and we can take that home. Like I might learn something from another culture and I can take that home and then it begins to have conversations with my own family and my own kids or, because of this conversation, well, now I might attend their holiday event because I learned something. And I think, chess game long term, what I'm really after is a shift in how we perceive each other so that, maybe it started off selfishly, but kids like my kids, now maybe kids like the kids I serve, they grew up here, they have a great experience, and then they go off to wherever, but they want to come back. We build these leaders through art, which is an amazing vehicle, and I feel so special to hold that. But to be able to build something that they are like, I did that, I was part of that. I want to come back here. I want to raise my kids here. I want my family here because they love me and they care about me and they want to see me do well. And I feel like I belong. And that's such a deep indicator of success and potential positive outcomes for our youth. And so I'm doing everything in my power to make sure that they have at least one chance to have that feeling.
Oh, facts. And, the thing I didn't hear you happen to mention, because, I've had an opportunity to come and put some paint on the walls. First of all, I'm going to say that you are so correct because you know what? Whenever I drive past one of these murals where I might have gotten a chance to put a little paint on the wall, that ear that I put on that I take a lot of pride in knowing that little section over there, I got to be part of that. And I've had some of the just best conversations with those young people where I'm not saying it's deep, but it's just cool. Like the painting makes it such an equal playing field. And they're like, oh no, you see, and they help me figure out where I should be painting and how to paint. And like painting is like, it's such a great equalizer and such an easy way to connect because, it don't matter how many degrees of paper you got. It's all about how you put the paint on the wall at the end of the day.
Exactly.
And there's just something very honest about it and but friendly about it.
Yeah, yeah. No, I really think it takes some of the nervousness, especially that some of the kids might have in just meeting other people, especially adults, but it takes some of that rigidness out of conversation. And it just, like I said, it just allows for like really organic and authentic connection. And that's really important, especially thinking about youth in that high school range. Like they see through anything that's inauthentic or not organic immediately. And, maybe it's the angst or what have you, but that's a quick way to shut people out, And so I think painting at the wall allows people to keep those doors open at least. And then, there's been a lot of great conversations that have led to further things. And, it's just a point of pride, the easiness that you're talking about, like being able to cut down some of that those barriers so we can provide our kids with a memorable experience where they gain lifelong friends across generational lines, across schools, whatever that looks like.
And in the experiences, because
Yeah.
you know what I've seen is I've also seen when like the media shows up and them students they step up.
Oh yeah.
They are ready for that interview. They do not shy away from it. They say what must be said at the highest level. It's presented excellently. Like there's something to that. They're learning other skill sets on top of it.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I said, it's all about the layers, and I had a documentary made last year from my good friend Len Baruso. And in there, a principal from East, Kelsey Van Fossen, talks about how youth will show up if given the opportunity. A staff of mine, also Bob Abshire, talks about how we see a younger generation taking charge when we might be quick to dismiss them and think otherwise. And so I can't get past that. Like they continuously rise. So when you see them on the news, like they're happy and ready and willing to do that, and then I personally, like, because I'm a parent, I love seeing the parents like just being with such pride to know that like, my kid's on the news, Channel 5, and then they come the next day and thank you so much. And, we got together as a whole family to watch it. And like, that's a special, special thing, to be able to provide that to somebody. I know if my kid was on the news, we'd be all just ready, watching, recorded, everything. And so like, I love, love, love getting kids on the media. Good skills to learn, especially, but I like to watch like how proud they are.
Let's talk about the evolution,
Yeah.
right? Because this is Paint the City 3,
Yeah.
which means there was a Paint the City 2 and there was a Paint the City 1.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the evolution. Let's start with the first one.
Yeah.
And where's that located? And what have you learned because right now it seems like this is growing. This isn't something that's losing momentum. This is something that's becoming really well known in the community. People are looking forward to it. They're talking about it. As soon as one's done, they're talking about the next one.
Yeah.
What was the evolution? Let's talk about them.
I mean, I think one thing you mentioned right away is community support. But I think from my lens, like the biggest learning is giving the students more control. I let go a lot of it like the last time. So being an artist, being able to look at things and be like, oh yeah, I could do this, I could do that. But like allowing them to have it and have ownership, that's like something that started in Paint the City 1. So if you're not familiar, it's a Jersey Bagel Alley. It's the floral mural that says always love. And so in those days, I assigned a group of kids a couple flowers to do and render how they would like. Of course, I'm there to teach and help if I need to. And then we move on to Boys and Girls Club here for Paint the City 2. And we have, I think it's like 16 people on there. And so again, you get a team and you get assigned a face or two. I think they each got 2 faces, and just helping them like get through it. And they would have questions. A lot of times I don't paint during the day. I'm just bouncing around question, but just giving them the control was a big learning. And then I feel like also I've become more streamlined. So like getting the volunteer stuff out, figuring out like the organizational side of things. As an artist, I think I'm rather scatterbrained. And so I've had to learn a lot that way. And then just the growth, I'm incredibly humbled to have built something, in my opinion, just so amazing. And especially like a lot of these kids, I didn't have an opportunity like that. I don't know what would have been if I did, and like we've built something that to my research is not offered in Wisconsin anywhere. There's nowhere in Wisconsin where you can take a mural course and get a credit and get paid for it. And so that's pretty cool. And, we started with 18 kids the first year and having maybe 20 some applications to this year. I had like 73 applications to go through.
Wow.
Yeah. So across the district, it's really cool, but also this is, so I'm in interview phase right now. And this is the hardest part of the entire project because I have to tell some kids no, it's tough, So maybe someday in the future we'll run 2 sessions. But it's just, I'm humbled. I truly am humbled by the growth and the support from Appleton Area School District and the community. Like everybody shows up, just like the kids, in support of this project. And I never seen it in the cards for me when I was their age. And so to be at this space now and then to be able to just scooch over and be like, here you guys go, have this. Yeah, it's fun.
I mean, seriously, it literally anybody could be out there painting. I've seen our government officials out there painting, our school system officials, business owners, like, and then just neighbors, people
Yep.
who are just curious, like, what's going on over here,
Oh yeah.
and like literally any and everybody. And the great thing is like everybody walks away from it feeling good. Like once if they didn't know and once they gain understanding, like they become very proud of the community.
Hmm.
And for those who do know, when they walk away from it, they become very proud because of the work being done in the community.
Yeah.
And it's a no lose.
Yeah. That's a great way to put it. Yeah, I really enjoy also that layer of community because just like I'm providing a unique opportunity for kids, I'm also doing it for our community. To be able to have a hand in it. I've gained some regulars over the years. That come back time after time that might see on socials. I'm painting here or there. They'll stop by. They'll hang out. They'll grab a brush. That's the biggest thing about I think what I'm trying to do as a whole is just reach the community. And so if you're listening and you see me painting somewhere this summer, stop by. And chances are you'll get to paint with me. Yeah.
That's kind of fantastic.
Yeah.
The other thing you didn't mention was that these faces on these murals are sometimes they're real people.
Oh yeah, man. Look, you know my project better than me. I think. I think all the time. And that came from the project. So I did the Harbor House a while ago, and for obvious reasons, I couldn't use people that utilize the service. But then after that, I started painting people that I know, and then it grew. And like that's why I love working in the school district is because I can be like, hey, you got a funky style. You ever want to be painted on a mural? And like I can like handpick students, oftentimes students, to be lifted up. And I think that just goes to like another layer of impact. I think a lot of that comes from my own personal experience with melanin and having brown skin growing up in Northeast Wisconsin and just around how you feel walking around, and do I see myself as beautiful or were there times as a youth where I wish I was different, and so how do I use my platform, use art as the vehicle to show the kids, their families, like, you are beautiful. Look at this wall. This wall is beautiful, right? Yeah. So that makes you beautiful. Your skin is beautiful. I just want to do what I can to make sure that the students and their families feel comfortable. Because it just being, right? Having your own existence can be challenging at times solely for that reason. And that's like a predicament and dilemma that we face. And it's like this internal battle sometimes I think many people aren't aware of. It's like you just walk around sometimes tense and there could be no reason at all, and so painting people in the murals, I think that is just another layer of impact that I can do that hopefully gets back to that long game, that chess match where people want to stay or they want to come back and keep their families here.
Nao, can you share a story that'll help our listeners understand the impact of your resource?
Yeah, I mean, I got stories, but I'm gonna keep it to just a couple. I think the biggest one I'm gonna give a shout out to the guy Noah Kelsey. So he was with me first year of Paint the City, and not like super into art, I don't think, but just took to it, worked diligently, and actually got an internship through the community volunteers with Haley Tempest from WHBY.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so she came and painted, met Noah. He interned there the following year. He was also on Good Morning Wisconsin, so he was live with me. He showed up at like 5 a.m., So that was cool, but the impact actually goes to the next year. So he started showing up at Paint the City too. He had a couple friends that were in it, and he was painting, and I said, yo, Noah, like, I'm glad you're here, but just so you know, I can't offer you a credit and I can't pay you again. He's like, nah, we're good. And he was there like almost every day. And for those of you that don't know, I work crazy, crazy hours to finish a project. So this year, Paint the City, last day, so the Thursday into the Friday, I painted for 29 hours straight. And the kids knew. I had a couple kids kind of stay late. So it's about the 11 o'clock midnight time, and a car pulls up, and Noah gets out the car. I said, Noah, what are you doing here? He's like, well, I'm here to help you paint. I knew you'd be painting here. And I'm like, dude, I love it, but I can't have you out here. He's like, okay, he goes home. He's back at 5:30 a.m. on Friday to paint with me, to get a teenager in their last month of summer break at 5:30 a.m. to paint with me, and he's not getting anything out of it other than painting. Like it just blew my mind, and I thought and I think is a really good testament to the work, like a really good testament to the what I was talking about, where they continuously rise to the challenge, but also to like all you got to do is give these students an opportunity to shine, and they're going to do everything in their power to do that. And then support the vision, their teammates. Like I said, Noah wasn't even enrolled in the course. Like he was just there to help. And I guarantee you he's going to be back for season 3. And I know I've actually to that point, I've had a couple students reach out like, hey, can I come back and help again for Paint the City 3? And that's cool. Like I've created something that they want again, and like I think that's a hard thing to replicate, just working in the schools to try to compete with a cell phone, to try to compete with sleeping in. Like that's a difficult challenge. And so I'm proud that we have I've created something that, moves students to want to continue to show up in the heat, in the August heat. Another thing I'm really proud of, I've had a number of students both years move on to go paint their own murals. So there's a mural in Central now, West. I've had students show their work over at the Trout Museum of Art here. I think just their last show, the Celebrating Women show. So they had some student artists up on floor 5, and 3 artists were in Paint the City, which was great. And then shout out to my good friend Mia Ornelas. She's graduating, but she got to speak at their panel actually. And it's all through just working, networking, meeting people at Paint the City, and getting out of the comfort zone. I think that's really a big thing that comes from Paint the City. Yeah.
Neo, are there any upcoming initiatives, events, or engagement opportunities?
So I think, another great way to kind of see this work, or at least get a feel for the work, is like I had mentioned, like when I'm painting. So I'm going to be doing a project with APD. That date, we're still working on some. I have it all drawn up. It's just got to get the right permissions. But we'll be in their parking garage, and it's the same thing. Community come paint. Did a similar project with Kaleidoscope last year. Not on a less intensive scale than Paint the City, but still the same premise. Like, let's get together to paint and support our youth. And then, I also run classes through the Trout Museum of Art, and then we're painting. Hopefully, again, fingers crossed, the permission goes through in the red ramp. Really excited about that. And then, just kind of seeing what pops up here and there. Usually in the summer, a couple things pop up, but yeah, we're moving and grooving.
Is there anything the community can do to be helpful?
Yeah, so I think the one that we've kind of mentioned a number of times is volunteering their time. Time is the biggest thing. And so usually about mid-July, I put out like a sign up genius. You can pick a slot. I think I was just looking 4 slots a day, or 4 time frames a day. And then each time frame has 4 slots. But when that comes out, you can get it from my social medias. Usually I try to share it out with like Haley from WHBY, the school district, like anybody that I know that has influence or connections to people. I just send it out to them, and they, I'm the friend of a friend. Like if you don't know me personally, usually one of your friends knows who I am. And so they know how to reach out to me. And so, yeah, volunteering your time. That's the biggest thing, most impactful. Plus you get to come paint with me and the kids. The next thing that's new this year is sponsoring a meal. So that I'm working to have created mid-June. There's just a couple extra layers, a little different than volunteering your time, because the kids rely on the meal. But sponsoring your meal, we've had a couple people do that over the years, and it works great. And it's like, I've learned that the community wants to be involved, and sometimes they can't cut away from the day job for an hour to 2 hours to paint. There's other responsibilities, but they still want to help. And so feeding kids is a great way to do that. The last thing I got also new this year, because of that need or that desire to want to help, I've had people ask, like, do you have a tip jar? Do you have a, XYZ account where we can donate to? And so I worked with Appleton Area School District. we've created a fundraiser account. And so I can share that link with you. It's live now. Also, it can be found on my Instagram. But you can contribute directly to Paint the City in whatever level. I think it really helps people like, hey, I got $5 for the kids or whatever, like anything helps and counts, especially when I'm thinking about the longevity of the project. Like, I really think community buy-in has always been where this is rooted. I've always been a grassroots guy. And so, anybody wants to help that way, it's greatly, greatly appreciated.
Well, we can be sure to share that link in the podcast notes so people can have access to it. So if you're listening right now and you're interested, check out the podcast notes and that link will be sitting there. Who or how, but who can the people contact to learn more?
Yeah, so I would say, I would probably be the guy. You can call the Welcome Center AASD. They'll get you connected with me. But a lot of my like communications out and things that happen come from Instagram. That's like the thing I use the most. You can search up Neo Medina, NEOMEDINA, or at _I_I.M.art_. But another thing to look for, my good friend Len Baruso, I mentioned, he filmed a documentary. And so we are shopping that around. It's going to some film festivals, which I'm so excited about. But we have a documentary made about Paint the City that really captures the spirit. It highlights like the work that goes into it, as well as like the vision. As you said, you've kind of seen it evolve. And so Len, I met at the Bazaar After Dark that was on Wisconsin Ave, the very first one. I painted there the love mural on Wisconsin and Durkee. And so ever since then, he's been coming around filming me over the years. So he has like a bunch of footage, which is it's just a really cool kind of way to look back and see the vision grow and manifest itself. But yeah, that's another great way to see more and also kind of feel all the feels.
Is there any additional information that you feel is important for the Appleton Engage listeners to know that maybe we didn't ask a question about?
Well, just to actually, now that you say that, to get back to the other question, another way to get a hold of me, as I mentioned before, I'm a friend of a friend, right? So like a lot of people know me indirectly somehow just because I've been out in the community. So if you know people who are doing community-based work and you want to get in touch with me, just reach out. Obviously, you can reach out to my man Timber here, but yeah, I'm a friend of a friend. So most people moving and grooving throughout the community know who I am or how to get a hold of me. So if none of those other aforementioned methods work, feel free to get connected through another person.
Yeah, or you can just reach out right here at Appleton Engaged through diversity@appleton.org and we can get you connected. Okay. Well, Nail, now it's time for the real part of the show where real business is done. And that is called shout out time.
Yeah.
You got some shout outs?
Oh yeah, man. I mean, there's so many, but I got to start with Mike Hernandez, Assistant Superintendent for Appleton Area School District. He's a big, huge supporter of what I'm doing. And also he advocates to make it happen and really just goes above and beyond to make sure that we try to do some amazing stuff, unique stuff for the students here in the Valley. Shout out Jen Stefani, partnering with her and Creative Downtown, again, to bring this downtown, which is great. I love the platform. On that level, got to shout out Tom at the Y. Tom went and the YMCA here downtown. Much appreciated, just taking a chance to let us use your space, giving us a home this August. I'm really excited. Plan to bring something really incredible to that space. So it's the tunnel behind the Y, if you guys aren't familiar, right by Jim's Place patio there. I got something cooking that I'm really, really excited for. Also want to give a huge shout out to Diamond Vogel. So those are my paint people. Over the years, we've built such a close relationship and they really take care of me, but more importantly, like take care of the project and the kids. Like they make it possible. Really, really can't thank them enough. Community Foundation, they believe in me, like my good people there. They've been believing in me. So, I love them. And then also shout out to the staff at Appleton Area School District. As I mentioned, I had about 70 some applications, and that is possible because whether it's my DEI team or the art teachers or the alt ed departments, like they're believing in what I'm doing. They are willing to advocate, say, hey, this student, like you need to sign up for this. And I've met some really great students throughout the years because of those staff members. So thank you.
All right. And we here at Appleton Engaged, Nao, want to say thank you.
Hmm.
All right. Appleton Engaged listeners, at this time, we're going to start wrapping up this episode. Just want to take a moment and say thank you for giving us your minds and your ears. Thank you for caring about this community and taking interest in another amazing resource that's helping to make this city a better place. We are a work in progress. We are always trying to get better. Well, we're actually trying to become the number one podcast in Northeast Wisconsin. And we can't do that without your help. How can you help? There's a few things. Number one, if you've got any suggestions on segments or questions or things you would like to have us ask, please don't hesitate to let us know. If you would like to be a guest, or if you would like to recommend a guest, you can reach us here at Appleton Engaged at diversity@appleton.org. Once again, that was diversity@appleton.org. And once again, we are a work in progress. Well, we have something pretty special going on here that's attempting to make this a better community. But how do you do that? Well, more people to listen to this podcast so they can learn about these amazing resources. So, what we need you to do is while you're listening right now, press the subscribe button. If you got a few more minutes, fill out a review. This makes for better analytics. And the better the analytics, the more eyes and ears get to learn about this amazing podcast known as Appleton Engaged. And I do truly believe that the more ears in our community who are listening to this, the more impact is being had in our community. All right. So thank you for spending time with us. I hope to see you out there with a brush in hand, putting some paint on the wall. I will be. But until next time, stay thoughtful, stay curious, and stay engaged.